everyone. Welcome to the 2020 Virtual Global Diversity and Inclusion Week. I'm Sri Ganapathy, and today we are going to celebrate our Diversity Week virtually for the first time. The Diversity Week celebrates the diversity and inclusion at Ford Motor Company, and this year we have over 50 coordinators and volunteers from the Global Diversity and Inclusion Councils and teams. Talking about the agenda for today, we start with a short video as an icebreaker. This video collage was made by our retirees and employees answering the question, how has your diverse background been embraced at Ford? I promise this video will be an interesting one with the history of diversity at Ford, featuring the first female engineer, Damayanti Rani Gupta, and Subhash Kalkelkar, one of the co-founders of FAIA. Both of them had illustrious careers at Ford, and when I was talking to both of them, Rani and Subhash, earlier and asking them to talk about diversity, both mentioned the same thing. They saw an enormous paradigm shift in diversity and inclusion in their 30 plus years with the company, from the lack of diversity when they first joined Ford in the 1960s to how things quickly changed in front of their eyes. We ourselves can see how things have changed from their stories, and fast forward to today, where we celebrate a whole week in global diversity celebrations. Next, I'll be walking you through a presentation on FAIA, the Ford Asian Indian Association, with some fun facts and contributions of Asian Indians within Ford and beyond. And to end this session, we have another video collage which was made by our global employees answering the question, how has your Asian heritage shaped the person you are today? This takes a broader perspective from all our employees of Asian descent at Ford Motor Company. So let's kick off today's event with an introduction from FAIA President and the recent winner of 2020 Women of Color STEM Award, Sucheta Olembe.
Hello, I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Ford Asian Indian Association. We have many great sessions this week as part of the Global Diversity Week. And this really lines up with one of our truths of putting people first. You'll hear from many members of the Ford Asian Indian Association on how Ford has helped them with their careers and the accomplishments they have to date. That will be followed up with a presentation by Sri Ganapathy on ways that FAIA has contributed to the larger community and at Ford. It'll also help you understand the key pillars that FAIA has been organized around. This will be a great opportunity for you to engage, participate, and support each other, and to be honest, make some friends. Followed by Sri's presentation, we also have a short video that we had recorded as part of the Asian Heritage a couple of months ago. So a great way to see how FAIA and FCA are collaborating to contribute to Ford's success. So I hope to hear from you and for you to engage. It's really important as we see what's happening in the external world to be respectful and to support each other. And it's even more impressive to see our senior leadership take a stand against it. And as individuals, we can contribute towards this journey because it starts with us and it starts with our actions. So hopefully we'll all take that first action today by listening and participating in the Global Diversity Week and learning different ways of listening to each other and helping each other. Have a great session and look forward to engaging in the future. Thanks.
My name is Damayanti Rani Gupta. I joined Ford Motor Company in 1967 as its first female engineer with masters in mechanical engineering. When the HR manager looked at my resume, he looked surprised. He said, "Are you applying for an engineering job?" I replied, "Is there anything wrong with that?" He said, "But we don't have any female engineers." I said, "You are looking at one. If you don't give me a chance, you will not have any." He smiled and sent me for an interview. My supervisor, before making me a final job offer, asked me to change my name because he didn't want to try difficult names. So I came up with an easy yet powerful name, Rani, which means queen in Hindi. I came to this country alone. I met my husband in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We got married in March 1968, and our wedding pictures were in Ford World. When we were expecting our first child, and my supervisor found out, he called me in his office and said, "Make this one as a last month. Women, they don't come to work when they start showing." He also added, "I hope you are not planning to come back to work." This did not stop me. I came back and continued working very hard. In 1997, when I completed 30 years, FCN, Ford Communication Network, decided to televise my celebration. Next day, I received so many emails, mainly from female engineers, asking, "How did you survive 30 years back? We are still struggling in male-dominated field." Some asked me, "Are you married? Do you have children?" By that time, our older son Sanjay, who is now practicing neurosurgeon and chief medical correspondent with CNN, was doing his residency in neurosurgery and was selected to be a White House fellow under President Clinton. Our younger son, Sunil, who is 10 years younger than Sanjay, had finished his first year of college and was offered a White House intern job in same White House West Wing. It was not easy, but I had to work very hard to do my best at home and in the office. Finally, in 2001, I retired, and we are now settled in Fort Myers, Florida. In 2017, Time magazine was doing Time's first women leaders who are changing the world, and they contacted me. A lot of people from Ford and Time came to Fort Myers. I was interviewed in Henry Ford's winter lab and his home, and was included with Hillary Clinton, Mary Barra, Nikki Haley, and many other women leaders who have been first in their field. I am very thankful to Ford for giving me this opportunity to realize my dream. In 60s, Ford was pioneer in hiring minorities. I will not be surprised if they hired first female engineer in the entire US auto industry. In last 53 years, Ford has hired many minorities and lot of female engineers. Some of them they have reached at a very high level. I'll be very happy to see female CEO in my lifetime. Thank you very much for listening to my humble story.
Until 2007, I was a proud Ford employee. Regarding the diversity initiative at Ford, when I first started working there in 1977, the reason I had joined Ford was that in those days, Ford had the reputation of hiring the most diverse workforce out of the big three. Back then, at most American companies, there was very little awareness of the value of a diverse workforce. That awareness came only after the boom in the tech sector and the emergence of Silicon Valley and other technologically rich areas that were built with a significant contribution from well qualified workers with diverse backgrounds. During my early years at Ford in the late 70s, I was aware of a few employees not considering others who didn't look like themselves to be their equals. I had gone to school at the University of Missouri in a tiny town where off campus I had experienced a few unpleasant incidents of racism. So I was battle hardened before I joined Ford. I was the first person who was hired at Body Engineering to build a local computer aided engineering or CAE activity. In those days, I would spend a lot of time making presentations to upper management about the significance of finite element analysis or FEA, which was an important CAE method. I had noticed a general disinterest among members of upper management in hearing about CAE or FEA. My executive engineer at the time would sometimes be so bored, he would start dozing off in the middle of my presentation, which was not very encouraging for me. After this happened 2 or 3 times, and also because I was not getting the position that I was promised when I was hired, I was feeling discouraged about my career prospects at Ford. Another person who thought highly of me and who was close to that executive engineer one day took me aside and told me, if it helps at all, I do feel sorry for the way you are treated. With this man, you have 3 strikes against you even before he sees your accomplishments. 1, you are not white. 2, you have an accent. And 3, you don't follow the same religion that he does. That was not very comforting to say the least. But I was not alone in that situation. I remember one of my bright colleagues who had a strong Indian accent would be mocked by his supervisor to his face and told to speak slowly and open your mouth when you speak. From those days in the 70s till when I retired in January 2007, Ford Motor Company made a quantum leap in appreciating diversity. This awareness came about after a major corporate reorganization in October 1994 called Ford 2000. By then, I was already a member of management and at the LL5 level. All of us were required to take management training at the University of Michigan Business School. Moreover, all employees were required to learn soft skills, including a course in diversity. Although the change didn't happen overnight, it was definitely evident in the changing attitude of all employees towards employees of a diverse background. When I retired after a 30-year career, I was proud of how I was treated by not only my chain of command, but also by others in upper management. I had made a few presentations to the vice president level, and I always felt that I was definitely being valued for what I knew and not looked down for my nationality or religion or accent. One positive incident that comes to mind happened when I was regularly attending the technical specialist advisory group meetings, sitting in for my chief engineer who had an ongoing meeting conflict. The chairman of this corporate-wide committee was John Kosnick, a director at Engine Engineering. I was the lowest ranking member of that committee and thought I would play it safe by not participating much but just listening. On one topic, one day, I started to say something, and the chief engineer seemed to brush me off. At that point, the director, John Kosnick, interrupted that chief engineer and said, "Please let him speak. I value his opinion and I want to hear him." That was a valuable life lesson for me. Never ignore the lowest guy on the totem pole. Also, As a founding member of FAIA, it made me feel very proud of the leadership at Ford Motor Company. In 30 years, a 180-degree turnaround was achieved in the attitude towards diversity.
I joined Ford in 1992, and since then there have been a lot of occasions where Ford has embraced my diversity. One fun occasion is when I was part of the durability department. I organized an Indian lunch where I printed off Indian recipes for the whole department, and about 55 of us made different dishes, and we had a phenomenal feast. So that was a fun moment of where my Indian diversity was embraced by the whole department. And having seen how I have been treated well by Ford over many years, both my daughters decided to join Ford Motor Company as well. So now we are a built Ford proud family.
Back in the 1990s, working in the Silicon Valley as a computer engineer with postdoctoral training in psychology, I couldn't have been further away from the business of making cars. When Ford Research made me an offer, I knew Ford was taking risks and had a wide lens view of the world. Today, I work in corporate strategy, and I believe I'm valued there not because of what I know, but because together we can bring outside-in perspectives to solve important corporate puzzles, business problems, so we can be the most trusted choice of our customers today and tomorrow.
I have been working at Ford Motor Company for past 21 years. Currently, I'm part of Team Edison and working on a Mackie program. When I immigrated to United States in 1997 from India, during my first week itself, I visited Henry Ford Museum in Greenfield Village. I got so fascinated by Henry Ford's innovations, whether it was a moving assembly line or doubling his employees' wages, that I ended up having a dream for myself to work at this legendary company one day. My dream came true in 1999, and since then I have not experienced anything but very inclusive culture as a woman and as a minority. Every day I feel very proud and privileged to work with such a diverse workforce. It helps me expand my outlook, my problem-solving skills, and growth in this company. Thank you.
So welcome back, everyone. This is Shri Ganapati. I'll be spending the next few minutes going through this deck with a presentation on the Ford Asian Indian Association with some fun facts and contributions made by Asian Indians at Ford Motor Company and also outside the company. Going with the theme of putting people first, which is actually also the theme for the Global Diversity Week for today. So the agenda, we already had the welcome session. We had a video collage on the history of diversity. I hope you all enjoyed it. We're currently on topic 3, an overview of FAIA. And then after this presentation, we're going to have a video collage on our Asian heritage, which I had talked about earlier with several employees talking about how their Asian heritage shaped the person they are today. So FAIA, this is a picture collage we came up for our 20th year. So it was founded in 1996 and we're close to 24 years right now. Our organization, Jim Farley is our corporate sponsor, Suchita Valembe is our president, and Rich Schrader is our executive champion. That's our executive team. From a core team, we pretty much have 4 pillars. The first pillar is our brand promotion. Ram Krishnaswamy is our brand promotion lead, and also one of the bigger brand promotion events, Deepak Patel leads our India Day event. From a people development perspective, we have Gargi Shah and Suchit Mate who are leading that initiative. Corporate citizenship is led by Sonal Chokshi and Venkat Eka, and communications finance is led by Shri Ganapati and Sandeep Gupta. Going back to our organization, It's a key employee resource group at Ford. We have about 5,500 members worldwide. It's an organization which has a pretty big outreach or reaches out to several countries in North America, US, Canada, Mexico, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Indian subcontinent. And we've been operating for the last 24 years or so. It's the largest Asian Indian professional organization in Michigan with a powerful leverage, and one of the largest community based organization as well. So this is a picture with our corporate sponsor, Jim Farley, and his two wonderful kids meeting with the FAIA team in Corktown last year. Some more fun pictures, Jim Farley and Kumar during their FIGO launch in India. And this was the grand global technology and business center opening in Chennai. So this was like a rock show which happened late last year with Jody Dudley, our GTBC lead, with the folks from India. This was Marcy Cleavorn, our ex-CIO, with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So looking at our charter, our mission is pretty simple: to help Ford Motor Company become successful, with the conceive and execute plans that help with the three pillars mentioned here, which are brand promotion, corporate citizenship, and people development. And this talks about the different initiatives which the organization has. Talking about brand promotion, the brand promotion's mission is to improve Ford's brand image and top line by a focused internal and external brand promotion events targeted at the Asian Indian population, which is again led by Ram Krishnaswamy. Our largest brand promotion event is the India Day celebration during the month of August in Novi, Michigan. Brand promotion team works with Ford marketing. They set up displays with several new vehicles and technologies. In fact, more than 25 to 27,000 people are in attendance in Southeast Michigan and neighboring states. It's an all-day event. It's a part of the Ford Experience Tour where we collect over 1,000 registrants. In fact, reached a peak of close to 1,500 at one year, and several sales leads for both in the US and in India, where we generate X plans and a program called the NRI plan, which is the non-resident Indian plan for sales. So the team also conducts several grassroots brand promotion events at local community gatherings like music festivals, concerts, India Fun Fest with displays of Ford and Lincoln products. The team drives one of the key metrics of AX and Z plans, and as mentioned, one of the ERGs which does the NRI plans as well. Some of the public events we had was rock stars who visit Detroit area like Hariharan, Shreya Ghoshal, so on, Zakir Hussain, and so on and so forth. And we also support other grassroots initiative working with local organizations like the North-South Foundation, Indus Center for Academic Excellence, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the pictures from our flagship brand promotion external event called the India Day, which happens in Novi every year. These are some of the pictures where people are standing in line to register for the Ford booth. This is an internal event. We supported the Diversity and Inclusion Day last year at the World Headquarters, and this year, as you know, we're doing it virtually. A picture from our Bollywood concert at Shane Park, where there are close to 7,000 people in attendance, and Ford and Lincoln products were displayed at the entrance. It's another picture from the actual concert with the Ford logo displayed prominently at the stage with the Detroit River in the black background. This picture is from a brand promotion internal event. So the team also does several events to build our own cultural ambassadors and brand ambassadors. This was from a benchmarking center. This picture is from a design center where the FAIA members tour the design center to see what's going on from a design standpoint in the company. We also have several ride and drive events to get our own employees enthused about our own products. So this has been a wonderful opportunity for the employees to test the vehicles and drive the vehicles themselves and be advocates. Our next pillar is our people development initiative, where teams get to contribute to Ford's bottom line by developing strong future leaders. The team organizes several lunch and learn sessions with senior executives, also have mentoring sessions and networking events. So one of the things which the team had to do this year is a new Know Your Business virtual session with the COVID lockdown, which has been an excellent success with several people attending those events. So more on that coming in our next slide. Team also has meditation, yoga events, lunch and learns. For example, we had Jim Farley, Tim Stone, and Kumar participate last year with executive shadowing, internal speakers. We had, in fact, one of our earlier people who did the video, she was in town, and we had a women breaking barriers session with Rani Gupta. And we also support new employee orientation and social networking events. Talking a little bit more about our new initiative, which has been happening in the during the COVID crisis, is the Know Your Business session, where these virtual sessions are almost on a monthly basis, where we have different speakers come and talk about their field of expertise. On April 1st, we have Venkatesh Prasad talk about strategy and innovation. We had a session on electrification, autonomous vehicles with Rahul Singh, FBS transformation with Jody Dudley, and we have an upcoming session with Narpal talking about Ford Credit and their business. So we had, until now, we had close to 2,000 people participating in these sessions. This is a slide from last year where we had executive shadowing. We had over 550 people participate in total in 2019. These are some of our pictures from the people development session, where these are executive skip levels where they get to ask our executives any questions in their mind and getting to know the businesses. This was a picture from a Women Breaking Barrier session, and some of the earlier sessions with external speakers from IBM on diversity and inclusion. This was another session from the past at PDC, and our informal social networking event, getting to know each other. On our third pillar of corporate citizenship, this team's mission is to enhance Ford's presence in the community through volunteer activities. The team supports several sessions at Ford Credit with JDRF, henna and samosa session, and also has sessions with Susan Komen Tissue Bank, work with Indus Center of Academic Excellence, and also digital literacy for the folks in India. These are some of the pictures from our Global Week of Caring, working with model teams. Again, some pictures on the Accelerated Action Day, where people go and volunteer their time and effort. In addition, they also do several events where they raise funds. This is from a past event where funds were raised for floods in Chennai through a charity cricket happening here in the Dearborn area. This is something which the team did from an eco kitchen perspective, where support folks in Chennai, the destitute women, so they can earn their own livelihood. FAA also has been sponsoring a school in Manipur in rural India since 2018. So they do have mentioned it over here that it's a school sponsored by Ford. This is another initiative from Chennai where they helped Ford education. And none of this would be done without all our volunteers, right? We have close to about 100 active volunteers who support and make all this magic happen. So we had a volunteer appreciation event happen last year. And also FAA has won several diversity and inclusion awards. The last one, this one was in 2014, and there's one in 2018 where a couple of folks from FAA were individually nominated for these awards. And these are some of the organizations FAA is closely tied with in the local community. These are the professional organizations happening in Michigan. This is a flyer from our Asia Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, which happened last month. So these are some of the high-level facts about FAIA, and for the folks who want to join the organization, please go to our website, faia.ford.com. There is a link on the right to subscribe to our mailing list. It's a self-serve mailing list, so put in your email address and you'd be subscribed. We do have a Yammer page, so you can join the conversation on Yammer. Outside Ford, we also have presence on social networks like LinkedIn and Facebook. And we are constantly looking for new volunteers and fresh blood into the organization. So if you do want to volunteer, if you want to work on our website, for example, or support us in one of our events which happen throughout the year, please either reach out to Sri Ganapati or Sonal Chokshi. Until now, we got an overview of the Ford Asian Indian Association and the organization. Now, let's switch gears into the fun part of today's event. So in this part, we're going to talk about the history of Ford in India, and more importantly, about the people behind FAIA. Like I had mentioned before, none of FAIA's accomplishments would have been possible without the extraordinary efforts of our volunteers. Some of our volunteers have been working late in the evenings and weekends, like during India Day, where they do 12-hour shifts. So this is another example on FAA employees going further and putting people first. So according to the Indian auto magazines, the first Ford car was seen dashing across the Indian roads was a Model A as early as 1907, just 4 years after Ford Motor Company was established in Dearborn. Ford first production in India started in 1926 and later re-entered in 1995 as a joint venture with Mahindra. Here you can see an old ad from Madras. Talking about the Indians, the first recorded Asian person of Asian heritage at Ford Motor Company. His name was Bhagwan Singh Grewal. He was a Michigan State graduate, hired by Henry Ford himself to set up Ford of India. And this is from the FAA archives. This was the first woman engineer hired by Ford Motor Company. We in fact had a session, we brought her back last year, a couple of years back, over at the iTech building, and more recently we asked her to give her view of diversity, which you have seen her before. She was part of the FAIA family until she retired, and I have the fortune of knowing her personally, and she was featured in the Ford World in 1996. Time magazine recently featured her in the series World First. She also happens to be the mother of CNN anchor Sanjay Gupta. The next person, Harendra Shankarlal Gandhi, another person I'm fortunate to know personally, was a recipient of the US National Medal of Technology and Innovation. Noted for his research and inventions in the field of automotive exhaust catalyst, Dr. Gandhi was elected into the National Academy of Engineering and has over 70 publications and has held 61 patents. President George Bush presented Dr. Gandhi with the National Medal of Technology and Innovation at the White House in 2003. The National Academy of Engineering called Dr. Gandhi the world's foremost authorities in the areas of automotive emissions control. And to honor Dr. Gandhi, in addition to the Henry Ford Technology Award, Ford incepted the Harendra Gandhi Research Award. And interesting to know that he was the second Ford employee to be inducted after Henry Ford was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1982. Dr. Priyaranjan Prasad, another Ford Fellow, first recipient of the National Award of Advancement of Major Vehicle Research by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Dr. Srini Sundararajan was part of FAA for several years, inventor of the first inflatable seat belt. Dr. Venkatesh Prasad, we recently had a virtual presentation with the Know Your Business on strategy and innovation. And here are some pictures from Ford in India. We've already seen Mr. Jim Farley and Kumar during the Figo launch, Marcy and Prime Minister Modi. This is Joe Hendricks when the Indian Prime Minister. This is an interesting picture when Narendra Modi was in the US. Mark Fields, the previous ex-CEO, went and met with him, in addition to 25 other CEOs from different companies in the US. This was Steve Odell and Elena Ford during a visit to India. We saw this recent opening of the FPS GTBC with Jodie Dudley. In fact, we even had her present during the June 13th Know Your Business session. These are some of the efforts from FAA for the COVID-19 recently. So teams from manufacturing supported the 50,000 ventilators by July 4th. We had Roy, Krishna Prasad, and Chandrasekhar. And the teams, they were recognized by Jeff Lemmer during the IT All Hands meeting. And we've also had more recently yoga sessions since the lockdown, pretty much every day. They've been doing meditation sessions, breathing sessions for employees during lockdown. From a Southeast Michigan community perspective, FAA spouses have been on the front line as medical providers. Members have been involved in donating 2,000 plus hot food from local restaurants, several monetary donations, and also stitching and donating over 5,000 masks for local hospitals and senior care facilities, and giving away 100 plus lunch packages at the VA hospital in Ann Arbor and helping the elderly with grocery pickups as well. Here are some facts about the famous Indian Americans in the industry. Not going to go through the whole list, but just to give you an idea about the Indian contributions to the US economy. Several CEOs and inventors, and astronauts and journalists and doctors and politicians as well.
rich heritage of many centuries, and at its foundation is the family structure, where the community is there for each other. Ford is a family-owned company, and over its history and heritage has also been there for its customers, its dealers, its employees, and the larger community. And together, we've been able to take on all challenges and come out stronger.
They say you can take a person out of India, but you cannot take the Indian out of them. India's heritage of rich culture, strong sense of community, compassion, courage, and collaboration are what have made me the person I am today.
My Indian heritage taught me that I don't own anything personally. Or if I do, it's all temporary. This set me free to work with so many smart and persevering people around. Together we can do almost anything, and most importantly, give back more than we take.
Religion is our integral part of our daily life, divinity, service to mankind, and we believe service to mankind is service to God, and so there's a lot of volunteering. The other aspect that I wanted to call out is our rich tradition and mythology, which guides us in our day-to-day life and the way we function. Thank you.
Tolerance, inclusion, hard work, integrity, and simplicity have been cornerstones in shaping my approach to life. And these are key parts of Indian culture. Thank you.
My Asian heritage has shaped my personality in many ways. For one, I love nature and all things natural. Second, I have a strong sense of identity, but I'm completely at ease with diversity. And lastly, like many Asians, and particularly Indians, I have a strong need for achievement.
Growing up in an Asian Indian household, I was instilled with values that celebrate hard work, education, family, and community. Values that still reflect who I am as a person today. Additionally, the Indian values of humility and compassion encourages me to talk less and listen more, making me an effective leader.
My Indian heritage and values that have defined me who I am today are self-belief. Believing in yourself and your actions is very important. Following your conviction to make your dream come true is also very important to me. Integrity of thought, actions, words should drive your everything that you do. Leadership, having a clear vision, a clear focus, ability to work as a team, and leading by example. And some others, of course, are respecting all and ability to work across your differences, humility, and of course, vibrant culture.
Indian heritage has given me spices, yoga, and meditation. This powerful combo pack has taught me to live in the present. It has made me resilient, adaptable, and ready to accept any challenge or change. Above all, it's taught me to love unconditionally and embrace the world as is.
My ancestors were Japanese, Filipino, and Native Hawaiian. My islander heritage has shaped my life in many ways, including my interest in world cultures and geography. My Hawaiian family models the spirit of family, or ohana, which is a core value of my life.
Being an Asian with a deep belief in the existence of a superpower, I've primed my personality on 3 beliefs. Number 1, there's no right or wrong way about anything, but just 2 different perspectives to be reflected and accepted. 2, there's definitely a creator up there who created all of us, but we control our destiny by our actions and thoughts. 3, this life is not about living for self, but a life lived for self and for others. Living a life filled with love and compassion to fellow creatures is a life well lived than merely living for self.
As a Chinese American, I grew up heavily influenced by the traditional Chinese culture, which is humble, working hard, taking care of each other, listening more, and strong as we are united. As we're celebrating the month of Asian and Pacific Islander American heritage, I wish everyone the best.
Growing up in China, the rich history has shaped who I am and the way that I think and work. thinking strategically for the large population and the long-term plan. Be agile and adaptive to all the changes. Never give up. Always find the way, and things will get better eventually.
Hard working of Asian heritage helped me to be creative as an engineer and deliver quality job every day.
I'm Mary Becker. Like most people, my parents and I are immigrants. My parents were not very educated, but they made up for it with hard work. While growing up, I watched them and learned not to shy away from tough obstacles. They taught me to be assertive, helpful, persistent, and truthful. Though my parents were not rich, they provided me a wealth of values. These values have shaped me the person I am today.
Western culture and Eastern culture intermingle, each learning and benefiting from the richness of other. Growing up in a Chinese culture, I was instilled with values that celebrated hard work, education, family, and community, values that reflect who I am today.
The Asian heritage taught me the cultural values, unity, diversity, humanity, and the service which I am applying in my work.
Hi, core values that resonate with me are faith, family, compassion, and selflessness. Faith. Have faith. With hard work and faith, we shall overcome. Family. Whether it be your family, friends, or colleagues at work, be there for each other. Be empathetic and compassionate, and do random acts of kindness for others.
Traveling across India, listening to Indian classical music, and of course enjoying Indian food. These are some of the things that I've grown to appreciate.
FCA is a home built by his members and for his members. If we all do our part, this organization will be tremendous for everyone involved.
There's a Chinese saying, 一年之计在于春, which means make a whole year's plan in the spring. While I'm enjoying my life today, I also make plans for tomorrow.